Welcome back to RooTV, your station for weekly updates on UMKC and the local Kansas City community. My name is Rex Stickney.
And I'm Marissa Leggio.
On October 10th, a neighborhood next to UMKC suffered a string of vehicle break-ins. Students parked along Charlotte Street next to Rock Hill Parking Garage woke up to their car windows busted out and their personal items stolen. And for some residents, this was the second break-in they've experienced. Affected students have filed police reports, but don't expect much to come from them. And unfortunately, campus police does not regularly patrol that area even though the street borders UMKC. Remember to contact UMKC police if you ever feel unsafe on campus.
On Sunday, drivers on 470 encountered a mulch fire alongside the interstate. The fire started to spread around 11 a.m. and police began evacuating people from their homes near Raytown Road due to the concern of the fire spreading to residential areas. Missouri State Highway Patrol posted a tweet warning drivers of poor visibility and closed the highway for the evening until responders could get the fire under control. There have been over a half dozen fires in the surrounding Kansas City area, including Fort Osage and Douglas County, due to the very dry and windy conditions Missourians have been experiencing.
The Missouri Secretary of State's office has proposed rules on how, quote, non-age-appropriate materials can be distributed at the state-funded libraries. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft said that under this rule, state funds could not be used to purchase or acquire inappropriate materials in any form. This rule would force libraries to honor parents' decisions on what is deemed appropriate for their children, and parents would have a right to challenge what the library considers age-appropriate. Opponents of this rule are concerned that it will be weaponized against marginalized communities because in the past, books by Black authors and queer authors were frequent targets of book challenges in Missouri. The rule will be published on November 15th and then will have a 30-day comment period.
Next year, a law will go into effect in Missouri that would make it illegal to sleep or camp on state-owned property. The proponents of this law have said that the goal is to not turn the homeless into criminals, but to offer more resources to those who need it the most. This legislation is now being challenged by a lawsuit claiming that provisions would make it dangerous for people who are already struggling to find shelter. The measure allows the Attorney General to sue local governments that don't enforce the law, and these localities could lose state and federal funding for housing and homelessness if they are not compliant. The law will go into effect on January 1st, and no hearings for the lawsuit have been set at this time.
Now we'll throw it over to Jackson, Josh, and Afnan for this week's roundup of sports and entertainment.
Welcome back into the den, and a spooky den that is this week. I'm Jackson Ogden. For this Halloween special, I won't just be giving you your normal sports breakdown, but a top 5 spookiest sports injuries of all time. Let's begin with number 5 on my list, the Alex Smith leg injury. The former Chief was in his first year with the formerly known Washington Redskins when he took this sack that would cost him his entire leg almost. After being sandwiched by 2 Texans defenders, Smith's leg looked like a kid's loose tooth that was just dangling by a thread. Smith was carted off before surgery was done on his leg when an infection nearly forced it to be amputated completely. Somehow through all of this, Smith was able to return 2 years later after this, but it's safe to say that play will always haunt his and our minds. Coming in at number 4 on this list, the Johnny Knox injury. And no, not the Johnny Knoxville of Jackass who purposefully hurts himself every day for fun, former Bears wide receiver Johnny Knox. In a 2011 Week 15 game, Knox went to recover his own fumble when a Seattle Seahawk who was also going for the ball completely hit him and bent him backwards. I mean, his body, look at this, went completely backwards. It hurts my body just watching this clip, and I can't even imagine my body doing that. I mean, his helmet nearly went all the way back and hit his butt. Pretty sure the body isn't supposed to do that. Unfortunately, this would be the last the NFL saw of Knox, but from reports online, it seems like he's currently in good health, so good. Coming in at number 3, the Gordon Hayward ankle injury. Oh man, this one's hard to watch. It was opening night of the 2017 NBA season, and the championship hopeful Celtics were starting off their season with new star Gordon Hayward. Early into his tenure, Hayward took an awkward fall that led to his ankle snapping and going the complete wrong way. The player reaction says it all on this injury. It was disgusting and painful to see. At number 2, the Paul George Olympic injury. There's never a good time to get hurt, but it's especially brutal to get hurt in an exhibition game. Paul George's ankle ran into the back of the basket and similarly to Hayward, snapped and turned the wrong way. And finally, at number 1, a list you never want to be number 1 on, we go to college, where Kevin Ware had undoubtedly the scariest sports injury of all time. It was a March Madness game that was sure to be tight battle down to the end, but early in the first half, Louisville guard Kevin Ware went up to defend a shot, but when he came down, his bone was sticking out of his leg. The sideline immediately reacted and covered their eyes, but nothing could cover the gruesome injury Ware had just suffered. I seriously do not understand how you can watch that, be right there and watch it, and then just continue to play right after. That injury scarred me watching it, and it still spooks me today. You know what else got spooked? The San Francisco 49ers on Sunday, because the Chiefs laid a 44-23 beatdown on Sunday. Patrick Mahomes threw for 400-plus yards and 3 touchdowns as the Chiefs moved to 5-2 on the season heading into their Week 8 bye. Well, that's all I have for you this week. Enjoy your Halloween week and eat all the candy you can, Ruse.
Welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm your host, Joshua Cunningham. And I've heard that nothing great happens at midnights, but good things do. And that's Taylor's album, Midnight. Oh my goodness, guys. It surprised me. I thought it was going to be really bad. Okay, I didn't think it was going to be really bad. I thought it was going to be average, but it was above average, which is so good. Now, I won't lie. At the beginning of the album, I felt like it was a chore. You know, I felt like I was only doing it because I told you guys I would, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, is this song going to end ever? But, you know, it was fine. I mean, it just felt like I had to be convinced that the song was good, and that's what sucked. But the more I got in the album, the more I started liking it. And the first song that I really liked and really stood out to me was Anti-Hero. And it stood out to me because, you know, Taylor was honest with herself. You know, she's been in a lot of relationships. She's made a lot of songs about him. She's made a lot of songs where the guy was the villain. And to be fair, guys usually end up being villains in relationships. I get it. But I'm glad she admitted that she might be the villain in some of these areas, because she might be the villain in some of these areas, you know. And I loved how she said it's hard for, you know, her fans to cheer for her all the time when she's like an anti-hero, you know? And I respect that. I respect that, Taylor. So good on you. But what I realized while I was listening to this album, there's 2 big things about Taylor that I realized. Is one, that she knows how to make a great chorus. So good to her. Like, her chorus was carrying those first few songs, I'm not going to lie. I don't think I would have liked them if the chorus wasn't as good as they were. And 2, is that her voice is not, like, the best voice out there. Like, she can sing, don't get me wrong. She can hold a note, she can hit a pitch. But it was very much like the same tone in every song, and it was very much, you know, it just wasn't anything special, you know? Like, if I listen to a Bruno Mars song, I can expect him to go hit this crazy high note that I'm just like, how do you even hit that? With Taylor, you know, you just know what you're going to get, and it's going to be, like, right here in that middle ground, and that's okay. But, you know, I thought she was maybe a little bit better of a singer than what she really is, so. But that's okay, because her production was amazing. So shout out to the producer of whoever produced this album. They did a great job with it. And I understand what they were saying about her writing carries, because her writing was carrying, you know. And I would have to say, if I had to pick a favorite song, it'd be Sweet Nothings. I was just listening to that before I actually got on here. And, you know, I would sing it for you guys, but I don't know all the words yet. But once I learn it, who knows? I might sing a little bit for you guys. And my favorite line is in Masterminds. It goes like this. It's a bar. Ready? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Strategy sets the scene for a tale. Wow. Taylor, you outdid yourself with that one. That was a great line. Wow. Like, you know, I mean, it's pretty basic, but it was very good. You know what I mean? So great job, Taylor. You know, everything after Bejeweled was great. But just because only that much of the album was great and the other parts were kind of average or mid or whatever, I have to give the album a 6.5. I know, some of you guys, this album changed your life for the 17th time, because it's like her 17th album, and she's changed your life every time she dropped. But for me, it wasn't life-changing. It didn't make me a Swiftie, but I do think Taylor Swift is better than what I was giving her credit for. So good job, Taylor Swift, on the album. And just to preface this, I did not listen to the 3 a.m. version, so this is just off the first 13 songs, okay? But, you know, good job, Taylor Swift. And If you want to hear more of my music opinions, follow me on Instagram at mr.cunning123. I've been putting polls up of who's a better artist, so you can join in with that if you follow. And come back next week to RooTV to hear what else I have to say about music or movies.
Welcome back to Book Review. My name is Afnan Hussein, and today, in the spirit of spooky season, I will be listing my top 3 favorite thrilling/horror books. Starting with number 3, we have Rosemary's Baby, the first book to spark my passion for reading. Suppose you were a young wife who moved into an old and elegant New York apartment with a rather strange past. Suppose that only after you became pregnant did you begin to suspect the building harbored a diabolically evil group of devil worshippers who had mastered the arts of black magic and witchcraft. Suppose that this satanic conspiracy set out to claim not only your husband, but your baby. Well, that's what happened to Rosemary. Or did it? Rosemary's Baby is a surprisingly chilling and sinister book. I didn't expect to be so unnerved by it. Levin effectively builds the tension as he progresses through the story, and he truly nails it at the end, delivering one of the most memorable and iconic endings in horror. Coming in number 2, we have Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. Then she was 15, her mother's golden girl. She had her whole life ahead of her, and then in the blink of an eye, Ellie was gone. Now, it's been 10 years since Ellie disappeared, but Laurel has never given up hope of finding her daughter. And then one day, a charming and charismatic stranger named Floyd walks into a cafe and sweeps Laurel off her feet. Before too long, she's staying the night at his house and being introduced to his 9-year-old daughter. Poppy, his daughter, is the spitting image of Ellie when she was at that age. Now all those unanswered questions that have haunted Laurel come flooding back. What happened to Ellie? Where did she go? This story was very dark, gloomy, and creepy, but also quite emotional. Laurel's voice is so realistic, raw, and sympathetic. She nearly had me believing she was a real person, and that was the true story. I was impressed with this novel as it held my attention from the start to finish. It gave me goosebumps in more ways than one. And now for my favorite all-time horror novel, Pet Sematary by Stephen King. When the Creeds move into a beautiful old house in rural Maine, it all seems too good to be true. As a family, they've got it all, right down to the friendly car. But the nearby woods hide a blood-chilling truth more terrifying than death itself, and hideously more powerful. The Creeds are going to learn that sometimes dead is better. When I first started reading horror, I couldn't imagine words on a page actually scaring me. I always felt like I needed something visual to keep me up at night. And then I found Pet Sematary. I had never had an experience before where I actually felt scared to turn the page. My heart was racing, my palms felt sweaty. I just kept thinking there's no way this book is going to go that dark. And then it did. If you like this book review, check out my Instagram at afhussein_ for more. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of RooTV. Be sure to hit the notification bell and subscribe for more UMKC and Kansas City community news.
And check out our Instagram at RooTV UMKC. See you next week.